All right, good morning. Welcome everyone on this beautiful Tuesday to Buffalo Sewer Authority's informational session for upcoming Buffalo Sewer capital project solicitations. This is going to cover both upcoming opportunities for professional service contracts slash design RFPs, RFQs, as well as construction contracts, opportunities in the next 12 to 18 months that are going out for bid advertisement. We'll also get into some other Buffalo Sewer Authority initiatives, such as contracting with small local businesses, community partnership program, and certainly open it up to attendees for Q&A through the chat function. So some housekeeping issues or housekeeping items to share. This is an online meeting, so outside of the speakers for this presentation, all attendee microphones are muted. Along the course of this presentation, please utilize the chat feature or the live Q&A, as we will allot some time for question and answer if we're able to answer those questions. Those we cannot answer, we'll certainly circle back to get you meaningful responses. This is a recorded meeting and with closed captioning available. The presentation, recording, and attendee list will be shared with all attendees. And by the end of this week, the presentation via PDF and the recording, which will be available on BSA's YouTube site, will also be posted on Buffalo Sewer Authority's website for this specific event. So the agenda will cover just some additional opening remarks, an overview of Buffalo Sewer Authority's Queen City Clean Waters, upcoming capital projects for construction. Then we'll get into the procurement pipeline for upcoming capital projects for design, get into some of the standards of professional services and construction bid requirements. If you've not done business with Buffalo Sewer before or have not worked a lot with Buffalo Sewer a lot in the past, getting into the small business requirements, certifications, and resources available to aspiring contracting and professional service firms desiring to do business with Buffalo Sewer, as well as positioning to partner with prime contractors. We'll summarize with the community partnership program that is in the process of being initiated by the end of this year, and we'll start to fully ramp up in 2026. And then we'll close out with some feedback and Q&A. So for those that don't know me, my name is Walt Walker. I am the Capital Projects Program Management Team's Program Director, working for TY Lin. Speakers also joined alongside me are Jamie Davidson, also on the Capital Projects Program Management Team, our Collection System Advisor representing JM Davidson. Also happy to welcome Stephanie Alessandrini, Project Manager for Buffalo Sewer Authority's RainCheck 2.0 Green Infrastructure Program. On some of the, so Stephanie will talk about some of the opportunities, the procurement opportunities over the coming months that'll be available through the RainCheck 2.0 Green Infrastructure Program. And last but certainly not least, Rosie Nogle, Principal Sanitary Engineer representing Buffalo Sewer. So Rosie, I'll hand it off to you for a disclaimer, and then we'll get into the session.
Hey, again, this presentation is being provided on September 16th, 2025. It is factual and up to date to the best of our knowledge as of this date. However, if you are reviewing a video recording of this, please note that things may have changed by the time you view this. We are going to be talking a lot of projects that are under the Queen City Clean Waters Initiative framework. This is our guiding vision of clean waters and a resilient Buffalo, with a mission to safeguard public health and the environment while fostering strong community partnerships, creating meaningful workforce opportunities, and driving lasting economic impact for future generations in the city of Buffalo. And the Queen City Clean Waters Initiative is overall our 50 plus sites, including, and sites is a broad term, especially when we talk about green infrastructure, because a site could actually be several hundred locations within green infrastructure. And then there's over $1 billion being invested in this program over the next 15 years to, again, address the regulatory concerns regarding combined sewer overflows, but also to have a lasting positive impact on the communities of Buffalo and of Western New York and the Niagara Peninsula. So we do have a combined sewer system in the city of Buffalo. Wastewater and stormwater flow together in the same system. We have, during stormwater events, combined sewer overflows because the capacity of the pipes are exceeded, and rather than backing up into people's homes and onto streets, our system is designed to overflow. We are working to limit the number of times that this happens per year through a mix of green infrastructure. So that's everything from the use of tree pits and rain gardens to permeable pavement and other green infrastructure elements. Inline storage. This is traditionally done through either just raising of weirs or real-time control. And then we are also embarking on offline storage to create additional storage locations in our system to hold and then release additional wastewater. And then when talking with folks at Buffalo Sewer, you will encounter this word SPP. It is a sewer patrol point. That is the Buffalo Sewer Authority specific term for a weir or regulator in our system. We are funding this $1 billion through a mix of federal and state funding administered through New York State EFC and DEC, particularly using grants, 0 to low interest loans. We are funding the green infrastructure, the first round at least, through an environmental impact bond. And then we are also relying on our existing capital budget. And so we will be funding through these mechanisms ongoing and future work at our treatment facility, offline storage, real-time control, green infrastructure, and then also pump station and other upgrades. We occasionally do get phone calls from folks asking about where can they find out what's upcoming. And you all are on this meeting to learn about what's all upcoming. So please go to buffalosewer.org. How can we help? Consultant, contractor, supplier opportunities is the best place to see what's upcoming and get real updates on where things are at and what is going out to bid or what we are soliciting proposals and qualifications for. And on there, we have added a spreadsheet of forecast upcoming bids, RFPs, and RFQs. If you see that there's especially an RFQ or RFP that has not yet been posted, but seems to be that it should be out, please go ahead and reach out regarding that. But we are trying to keep this up to date so that everyone knows where things are at and what to be on the lookout for. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Jamie Davidson from JM Davidson Engineering to talk through the upcoming Buffalo Sewer Authority capital projects.
Thank you, Rosie. And thank you for the introduction. For those that haven't met me, yes, I'm Jamie Davidson with JM Davidson Engineering, and we have been working on the design of 3 construction contracts with Arcadis for improvements to various sewer patrol points. As Rosie mentioned, those are regulators within the Buffalo sewer system. I'm going to walk through each of the 3 construction contracts in a little more detail on the following slides. But at a high level, the first project, which you see there, is the various SPP modifications. That includes various improvements, mostly weir modifications and repairs at 8 various sites throughout Buffalo sewer system. This contract will be the first one to come out for bid. We are targeting at the end of October, you will see that. And that will be quickly followed by the remaining 2 projects, which are much more substantial in the construction size. They both involve new diversion structures and 50-foot or greater drop shafts to the Scajaquada Tunnel. And that is the Genesee Street project, which will hopefully come out right before Thanksgiving, and then the Colorado project. Next slide. Okay, to start with the various SPP modifications, the very first site that is included is SPP 336B, and this is located within Humboldt Parkway, so that will be a challenge just working in that busy roadway. But this project includes a weir modification, basically adding a labyrinth weir as shown on the right in that detail to the existing SPP structure. This entire contract is coming out to bid at the end of October, and we are targeting an opening date before Thanksgiving on November 20th. The second grouping of projects in this contract will be 3 SPP weir raisings. They are all located on Michigan Avenue at subsequent side streets, so at Dodge, Riley, and Glenwood. And these ones include adding a weir, essentially a weir plate to raise the height of that weir, as shown in the detail. Also included in this contract is a repair to an existing RTC structure that is in place at Smith Street, right north of the 190 near Perry. The existing overflow weir was compromised recently, and a repair needs to be made to that. So that has been included in this contract as well. And then finally, 3 sites have also been included in this contract that include various electrical and instrumentation upgrades that will help communicate with BSA's global control system for the real-time control structures. So that is the final 3 sites that is included in this whole construction contract. So on to Genesee. So the picture on the right essentially gives an overview of the Genesee project at the 50-foot level, but it includes a new diversion chamber in Genesee Street, and then there will be a case boring, a 48-inch casing bored beneath Genesee Street that will facilitate the installation of new 30-inch sewer pipe and 2 manholes. And then, as you can see on the lower right, there will be a new drop shaft to the Scajaquada Tunnel that includes a vortex structure within it. And then there will be modifications to the existing drop shaft that is currently located this is in the north corner of Genesee Park. So this project is targeted for a bid date of November 19th, and we're looking to open in the new year on January 13th. And then right behind that will be the Colorado Street project. Colorado Street will be very similar to Genesee. It will also include a new diversion chamber and a new drop shaft that is approximately 50 feet down the Scajaquada Tunnel, and that will also include a vortex structure. This one is closely behind, and we are targeting this one to come out for bid in the April to June range of 2026. And with that, I will pass it off to Walt.
Thank you, Jamie. All right, so continuing on the next round of projects coming up for bid advertisement, these will comprise facility-based projects, either projects specifically within the fence at at the Bird Island wastewater treatment facility, or some of the collection system pumping stations also managed by the facilities team. And then I'll turn it over to Stephanie to talk about green infrastructure. So first we'll get into some of the collection system pump stations, and then the Bird Island facility projects listed here with South Buffalo Pump Station, Kelly F Pump Station Rehab, phase one of the raw wastewater and settled wastewater pump station upgrades. In 2026, the waste heat recovery boilers rehabilitation, phase 2 and 3, or phase 2B and 3 of Bird Island capital projects upgrades, and then wrapping that up with green infrastructure. So with the South Buffalo Pump Station, this project is currently out for bid advertisement. It's one of the larger pump stations in Buffalo Sewer's collection system, and this project will focus on general pump rehabilitation, HVAC system replacement, various mechanical upgrades, structural and architectural rehabilitation, and some electrical and instrumentation improvements. So the current bid opening date is scheduled for September 25th, next week. I do know that there is an addendum likely coming through, one final addendum. So for those that are interested in submitting a bid for this project and want to get caught up in exploring if there is an opportunity to put in a bid, you can check out the standalone project page on the Buffalo Sewer website. The Kelly F Pump Station rehabilitation. This was a project designed by the Wendell team, comprised of removal and replacement of a drywall pump, improvement of layout for efficiency and safety, with a targeted release date of the final quarter of 2025. Moving on to the raw wastewater and settled wastewater pump stations at Bird Island. The raw wastewater pumps are essentially the main sewage pumps at Bird Island. They began operations in the 1930s. There are 6 pumps with a collective capacity of 560 MGD, and their primary function is to pump incoming raw wastewater to the primary treatment system. The settled wastewater pump stations, equally important, pumping the treated primary effluent to the secondary treatment system. So conditions assessments were performed over the course of 2024. The findings were organized into immediate, short-term, midterm, and long-term improvements. And so this upcoming procurement is going to be focusing on the immediate term upgrades for the raw wastewater pump station, rehabilitation of pumps, impellers, and motors, rehab and replacement of the roof, and installation of updated electrical and instrumentation and control systems. And at the settled wastewater pump station, rehabilitation of the pumps and ancillary equipment, repairs to the roof, improvements of the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning for safety and operational efficiency, getting that into compliance with NFPA standards, and then similarly installation of updated electrical and control systems. Waste heat recovery boilers rehabilitation. This is a project led by the Arcadis team. Rehab of these existing waste heat recovery boilers at what BSA calls the megastructure, which is adjacent to the blower building, and comprised of those recovery boiler upgrades, auxiliary boiler upgrades, and chiller system enhancements. This project is still in the design phase, but is slated for bid advertisement in 2026. Next, going on to what, for those that have been working with Buffalo Sewer for some time, what they may call the NFA projects. These are these large capital projects, wet weather projects at Bird Island, which are part of the long-term control plan, now the Queen City Clean Waters initiative. So in the context of that, Buffalo Sewer has talked about these large capital projects in three phases. Phase 1, currently under construction, is rehabilitating Bird Island treatment plant's secondary systems to improve their aeration tanks. Phase 2 is broken down into Part A and Part B. So phase 2A, which is focused on the primary treatment tanks renovation and odor control, along with Part B, phase 2B, will rehabilitate and upgrade the plant's physical treatment system to improve current flows. And for phase 2B, really focus on providing a new disinfection pump station and a chlorine contact tank to enhance partial treatment during wet weather that goes through outfall 001. So phase 2A, focusing on the primary tanks, is currently under construction. Phase 2B, focusing on the new facilities, the high rate disinfection pump station and chlorine contact tank, along with the influent and effluent piping, along with the needed structural repairs to outfall 001, which the effluent piping will connect to. We focused on this upcoming bid advertisement to be released sometime in Q3 of this year. Next, phase 3, currently in design, being led by AECOM, will further expand Bird Island's biological treatment system to handle more flow during wet weather. So this project is comprised of improving flow to the existing 16 final clarifiers, the addition of 2 new 40 MGD final clarifiers, as well as the installation of a 5th additional or 5th chlorine contact tank alongside the 4 existing contact tanks. Bid advertisement currently slated for late 2026, early 2027. So that gets us through the planned facility projects targeted for bid advertisement in the next 12 to 18 months. At this current point, I'll turn it over to Stephanie to talk about green infrastructure and Rain Check 2.0.
Thanks, Walt. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Stephanie Alessandrini with Stantec. We're working with Rosie and Buffalo Sewer Authority on the Rain Check 2.0 program. So really excited. This program is kind of one of the cornerstones of Buffalo's green infrastructure plan. It includes 14 different distinct green infrastructure construction packages that will be released throughout 2026. So these packages represent like a significant investment in sustainable stormwater management and community resilience. Next slide, please. So to provide a little bit of additional context, Buffalo Sewer Authority launched the Rain Check 2.0 program in 2015 as part of their long-term control plan to reduce the combined sewer overflows and improve water quality. So their primary goal is to manage nearly 570 acres of impervious area by 2034, which is a pretty significant undertaking. The Rain Check 1.0 was the first phase of the Rain Check program, and this was focused primarily on installing green infrastructure practices on public streets, parking areas, and private properties. Rain Check 2.0 is where we're at currently, and this expands on the program of the Rain Check 1.0 through public partnerships with Buffalo Public Schools, the Buffalo Municipal Housing Authority, Buffalo Parks, and also work within public streets. So there were 6 there are 6 priority combined sewer basins that were identified that are located primarily within Buffalo's east side, downtown, and also the South Buffalo neighborhoods. And these areas encompass nearly 25% of the city's land and about 50% of its population. These areas were selected for their potential to deliver the greatest impact on the water quality and then also public health. So in June 2021, BSA secured a $54 million environmental impact bond to install the green infrastructure practices within these basins. The key condition of the environmental impact bond is that over 200 acres of impervious area need to be managed with green infrastructure practices by 2028. So this funding, and then as Rosie had mentioned, supplemented with grant awards from Environmental Facilities Corporation, will provide the majority of the financing for the construction of these improvements. Next slide, please. So a little bit of a timeline on how we got here. In 2004 to 2014, BSA had developed and received approval for the long-term control plan. Rain Check 2.0 was officially kicked off in 2019, and the EIB was awarded in 2021. In early 2024, we began the planning phase, which consisted of the desktop review with the GIS software. And then through that process, we had identified 550 green infrastructure practices throughout those 6 priority basins. And then these were organized into 14 design packages, which were distributed to 4 consulting firms. The packages are currently in varying stages of completeness, ranging from the site investigatory phase to surpassing the 90% design milestone. The seeker review is expected to wrap up later this month. And per the EIB funding requirements, all of the GI work must be completed by the middle of June in 2028. Next slide, please. So on this slide here, you'll notice we have the 14 different, the limits of the 14 different design packages. The right-of-way packages are outlined in the dashed blue there, and then throughout there we have the 3 parks packages. These range in size from 1 park to 4 different parks with smaller practices scattered across the priority basins. We had tried when locating these practices to keep them as close together as possible. The Buffalo Municipal Housing Authority package will include improvements at Ferry Grider and Kenfield Langfield, and the Buffalo Schools packages include improvements on and adjacent to approximately 19 Buffalo Public Schools or Buffalo Public School property. Next slide, please. So the number and the type of green infrastructure improvements vary based off of the package. On average, each right-of-way package will include about 40 to 60 different practices, and these are smaller, localized practices, varying in size. And well, the parks packages will be a bit larger, with 1 large practice located at Hennepin Park, and then with the other 4 parks, there'll be smaller practices that are located adjacent to the parks and around their right-of-way. So the proposed practices include things like rain gardens, underground storage systems, stormwater tree trenches, porous asphalt, infiltration trenches. There'll be some pavement removal, and then also stormwater planters. So with the designs expected to wrap up in the winter of 2025, and then, varying stages of completion through 2026, we'll get ready to release those packages for bid throughout 2026. And the average estimated construction costs vary between $1 million and about $15 million. And so we have those ranges included on the slides there. So next slide, please. So there's actually a more in-depth informational session that'll be coming up on October 9th at 2:30 p.m. if you'd like to register for that. Well, it's got the link in here, which is great. And so during that session, we'll be going into more details on the specific packages, as well as being open to questions or, suggestions and things to that nature if, you'd like to learn more. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. I'll turn it over to Rosie to talk through the opportunities regarding professional services, RFPs and RFQs. So, Rosie, I'll hand it off to you. You're mute, Rosie. There you go.
There we go. An RFQ was issued on August 18th. Submissions were due yesterday, with interviews to follow in the next couple of weeks here for construction inspection services. So yeah, there was a whole list of things there. RFQ for construction inspection services. We're looking for that. This will be for the next 3 years, up to 5. This is specific to those projects that are being managed through the program management contract. But it could be used for other things, but that is what it's specifically for. And there will continue to be a mix of ways that we are contracting for construction inspection services depending on the specific contract. But this is the first thing. We will also be putting together our term agreement. We usually do 6 of these contracts. Generally, we have award each of those contracts $250,000. These are for basically on-call services for engineering, smaller projects that we need to get moving on and require smaller tasks and as needed. And so we will pull proposals for use of that $250,000, depending on what we feel each firm is best qualified for, based on their qualification submittals. So we are looking in the first quarter of 2026 to put out a request for proposals to bring Waterfront Park offline storage and 206A and B real-time control through final design. This site is over in Waterfront Park. It's a 5.55 million gallon OLS tank is currently proposed. 24-inch dewatering gate at the adjacent RTC. We did do work on 206A and B about 10 years ago, and this will be further modifications of that structure. And additionally, it should be noted that this is an active city park that is utilized heavily by the adjacent school. And it is also a hazardous waste site due to the presence of a former refinery at this location. So it'll be a fun project.
Thank you, Rosie. And Rosie, you want to continue on talking about professional services and construction bid requirements typically associated with Buffalo Sewer?
Yep. So we have a large number of different professional and construction services required. And again, most of our projects are being funded through, or many of our projects are being funded through state entities, and they will have DBE and or MWBE requirements. And so whether it's construction or professional services, it is expected that we will have a prime and that we will have subs, and that those subs have various specializations. Yeah, on the state level, they are also implementing SDVOB goals as well. So there is a lot of opportunity for the inclusion of local, different suppliers and workforce members, and partnership with various smaller firms. Buffalo Sewer also has our own goals when we are self-funding. So building those relationships and building those partnerships is highly encouraged to ensure that everyone has a seat at the table and we're all getting the best for the city of Buffalo at the end of the day. So typically with the RFPs, you're being asked for your cover letter, how you're approaching the project, what experience you've had with similar work, who specifically you are going to be putting forward as being part of your project team, what the org chart is and the resumes. If somebody is a member of your company but is not being proposed for your project team, please do not include their resume in the RFP. It does not help you. And again, Buffalo Sewer will be working to ensure that as the project progresses, that we are actually seeing the team that was proposed. Or if members have moved on, that can be understood, but we expect that there would be the level of expertise and knowledge that is being proposed in the RFP on the project. you'll also be required to have your DBE, MWBE, SDVOB plans included. Again, proposals are project specific. Qualifications are more generalized. And so when we're talking project specific, we expect that you have those partnerships in place together. And then the cost proposal comes as a separate document. Finally, we are looking moving forward for community engagement and that your team reflects the diversity of the city of Buffalo and of the professional population of Western New York and New York State. For construction bids, similarly, we're expecting that there be a DBE, MWBE, SDVOB plan included in the bid. It is no longer acceptable to put forward a bid and then once the bids have been opened, saying, okay, well, let me go see who's out there to see if I can put together a plan. It creates significant delays and puts our ability to fund through New York State in jeopardy. So our funding depends on those plans being in place. And so your contract depends on those plans being in place and being followed. We do have Buffalo Sewer Authority is tax exempt. Please make sure that you are using our tax exempt forms when purchasing items for Sewer Authority use. We do have insurances and we do have bonds. Again, those need to be included. And additionally, we are going to be including liquidated damages in our contracts, $500 per day after the time specified for substantial completion, and $1,000 per day beginning 60 days after the time specified for substantial completion. These are regulatory-driven projects, and those regulatory requirements then put a cost onto Buffalo Sewer Authority to complete on time. And so we will be sharing that cost with contractors to ensure that we're all aiming for the same goals.
All right. Thank you, Rosie. I want to continue the discussion of inclusion, meaningful inclusion of small local business partners, particularly historically underrepresented firms. The why. There's millions of dollars of projects planned to occur over the next decade. And there's a real need to build capacity and to build capacity for availability of contractors, not just in Buffalo, but in Western New York. So this is an opportunity for long-standing firms to promote meaningful teaming arrangements, mentorships, partnerships between those established, experienced firms and new or smaller firms, and the bonus for those based in Western New York. But it's really about creating economic opportunity for everyone, including disadvantaged minority women business enterprises and service-disabled veteran-owned businesses. Buffalo Sewer is not just looking for firms on the professional services side or the contracting side to just check the box, but demonstration of meaningful involvement for these local and smaller firms to grow and to be positioned to do more great work. So some background for those not familiar with the typical standards. Rosie touched on that a bit earlier, but whether you're a DBE or MWBE, you must be certified in New York State. The requirement is also based on the funding source, whether a project is funded through EFC, DEC, or within Buffalo Sewer's capital budget. Rosie talked about this earlier about utilization plans for both professional service and construction bid submissions. They must be submitted with your proposal package, or those proposers, are at risk of having a disqualified bid. And those utilization plans should be reflecting a good faith effort and a documented good faith effort that is realistic and meaningful. This slide here, I won't get into the details too much, but just really distinguishes the difference between a New York State registered DBE and an MWBE. So an MWBE may not necessarily be registered as a DBE. So it's very important to understand the contractual requirements in a Buffalo Sewer contract. If they're specifying DBE, don't just assume the MWBE is a registered DBE. And for our MWBEs, DBEs, as well as our service disabled veteran-owned businesses, if you're a startup company looking to do work or more work with Buffalo Sewer and its contractors, lots of great information available through the state, through the MWBE Business Growth Accelerator Program, the state's Mentor Protege Program. Niagara Frontier Transportation Authority has its own diversity development program for DBEs, and then even within the county MWBE certification programs and training day conferences. On the right side of this slide also provides resources to some Buffalo-based business administration contacts. From an event-specific standpoint, there are also a few specific events that I'd like to highlight coming up. First one is the MWBE Training Day Conference in Buffalo, New York, next month, October 21st. With the link provided in this slide deck. Again, we'll be distributing these slides by the end of the week. The Exchange at Beverly Gray, heavily involved in helping support startup and growth of local small businesses. So tomorrow, via Zoom, there is a business of law information session where you'll learn about LLCs, contracts, and legal setup for your firm. Next, a marketing accelerator program through Reach East Marketing. They describe their program as a program designed for active revenue-generating businesses on Buffalo's east side, eager to enhance their marketing and communication skills, be more visible in the contracting space, ready to supercharge their business. So developed by the Exchange at Beverly Gray and the Foundry, they have an intensive 3-month program, which offers 6 comprehensive workshops, mentoring matched to your business needs, and training by local marketing and communication professionals. Applications for this annual program open in January 2026. So be on the lookout for those opportunities. In addition, there are a number of other small business resources hosted by the Exchange at Beverly Gray, outlined here with active links on each of these items in the list, including mentoring, trademarking, financial management, legal consultant, needs assessment for staffing, etc. There's also small business resources available through the Buff State Small Business Development Center. I do see on the call, we have Bailey available. Bailey, I'm going to unmute you here and call on you if you're comfortable to unmute, introduce yourself, and talk a bit about the Small Business Development Center through Buffalo State.
Hi, thank you, Walt, for the introduction. Yeah, so my name is Bailey Brouillard. I'm a New York State certified business advisor at the Buffalo State Small Business Development Center. We are located on Buffalo State University campus, and that is right across from the AKG Art Gallery. So for those who are unfamiliar, our office offers free and confidential one-to-one business advisement for both startup and pre-existing businesses. So along with general advisement, my specialty is also in procurement and certifications. The primary certification I work on is MWBE certification at the local and state level, but I also am experienced in other local, state, and federal certifications, such as the DBE and the SDVOB that was discussed earlier. So if you are a small business, or if you know of a small business that is interested in becoming certified, I highly recommend that you reach out. And I can share my contact information in the chat as well, for anyone that is interested. Another service that we offer is, which the flyer was listed on the slide. This is our most popular program. It's Marketing Solutions and Contract Readiness. It's a certificate program. Karina Larea is actually on the call today. She is the coordinator of the program. She's amazing. And she can speak more to it. I believe that she is unmuted as well.
Yeah, thank you, Bailey. Very briefly, so this program is going to help you prepare to get contracts. That is our purpose, and our main goal is for you to get more contracts. It's an 8-week program. We meet every Wednesday from 4 to 7:30, and we cover things like lending. We cover things like the capability statement, sales pitch. We help you create a sales pitch presentation like the slides. We practice that. We bring people from procurement that will help you understand how to navigate procurement with larger organizations. And at the end, you get a certificate from Buffalo State and also an electronic badge for completion. This is the brochure, and I'm going to share my contact details in the chat. If you are interested in joining, we're starting the new cohort in October 15th. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Karina and Bailey. Anything you want to cover in terms of the additional business finance resources listed here? Pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah. So the links are there. If you have any questions, I recommend reaching out to our office and working with advisor one-on-one on any of these applications and resources.
Thank you both, and I'll circle back as well to get your contacts and share that with the attendees along with the slides. So I appreciate you both being able to attend.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Our pleasure. All right, so last slide here before we get into Q&A and closeout. Digging further into the community benefits component through water infrastructure investment, soon to come or soon to be launched later this year, and ramping up with pilots into 2026 is a community partnership program. Buffalo Sewer wants to ensure that construction and professional service contracts deliver positive economic, environmental, and social impacts for residents. Through Queen City Clean Waters, the general 5-year capital plan, again, as I mentioned, Buffalo Sewer is spending millions of dollars each year for the much needed building and maintenance of infrastructure to provide the necessary wastewater treatment, management of combined sewer overflows, and in general, at its core, to protect public health. So Buffalo Sewer's upcoming community partnership program through strategic partners and partnerships in Buffalo is being created to help deliver these social impacts beyond those immediate capital and maintenance projects. Again, so these are meaningful partnerships, established contractual partnerships between registered 501c3 nonprofit community organizations based in the city of Buffalo or City of Buffalo Public Schools. And those partnerships will be administered through contracted consultants and contractors on Buffalo Sewer contracts within the Buffalo Sewer service area at a certain cost threshold based on the size of the contract. And to be clear, this is not related to MWBE and DBE requirements. That is fully ingrained within Buffalo Sewer's contracts for every single contracts and is separate from the community partnership program. This is primarily about establishing and prime consultants and contractors establishing meaningful partnerships with organizations within the city of Buffalo focused on educational programs, especially in the fields of science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, Number 2, workforce development, establishing job training programs and creating employment opportunities to build a better skilled water workforce and construction workforce in related sectors. 3, economic development, promoting local economic growth by supporting infrastructure projects, fostering partnerships that drive economic activity and community prosperity. And then lastly, public health and environmental health, partnerships established through improving public health and environmental quality through enhanced water management practices, building resident stewardship, building the water workforce of the future to ensure that the city of Buffalo and Western New York has the people here in the city to ensure a cleaner and healthier environment for the community. So super exciting program built off successful models led by utilities across the nation. There'll be educational sessions moving forward, coming ahead in the coming months, focused on the specific pilot projects, and a webpage soon for the general public to learn more about what this community partnership program is about and how it's administered through existing infrastructure projects. So with that, we've gotten to the end of our formal part of the presentation. I want to thank everyone for their attention, and we want to open it up to any questions folks may have. We'll give it a few minutes if you want to enter that through the chat or Q&A function. Give it a minute. Okay. Seeing none at this time, although you're certainly welcome to follow up with additional questions. The program and green infrastructure teams, look forward to supporting Buffalo Sewer with these types of general outreach events, including the dedicated green infrastructure open house that the Stantec team with Buffalo Sewer will host next month. We encourage you to continue to stay connected to Buffalo Sewer Authority announcements and events through the Buffalo Sewer Authority website. I also want to give a shout out to the program management team's community engagement lead, Hallmark Planning, for the development of a Queen City Clean Water's interactive website aimed to interact with the public more on the projects that are happening in your neighborhood and the planned projects that are envisioned to occur. The interactive website includes a survey about what that meaningful terms of engagement look like, ideas for how projects could be enhanced, concerns, and we're certainly looking to document all of that feedback through an updated frequently asked questions feature on the page. I'm going to stop for a second because I do see a question about where the results of previous RFPs can be found, and turn that over to Rosie.
So we don't generally have a repository for the results of specific RFPs. Any contracts that are awarded, the official record of those awards is in our board minutes. And so those are recorded there. But again, an RFP is not a, it is a qualifications based, it is not a fee based award process.
And Rosie, there's a question that just came in, and I'll read it out. Will a professional engineering services term agreement that's coming out later this year carry the same DBE, MWBE, SDV, OB requirements as the capital project design RFQs?
They will carry those. And it will be project specific that we will ask for a final plan for any one project. And it is understood that when we're asking for a de minimis plan project, that sometimes it will be the amount of subcontracted work on a $5,000 project might not really make a lot of sense, or might be it's significantly more that is being done by a sub than with a larger project, depending on the scope of work. So that will be project by project and proposal by proposal that we will ask for further elaboration, but you will be asked to provide partners and a list of proposed partners, and including those same MWBE, DBE, SDVOB, that would be in a larger project. But again, it would be an RFQ-based award for the term agreements, with then proposals to follow.
Thank you, Rosie. All right, so we've gotten to the end of this presentation. We allotted a half hour in case any of us ran over. So super proud of the team here for getting through this in an hour. We look forward to supporting Buffalo Sewer Authority and these frequent touch points with the public. You can reach out to the Capital Projects Program Management Team. Also want to send a shout out to our Capital Projects Program Manager, Catherine Roswood, in terms of Rain Check 2.0 and green infrastructure, Stephanie, and then Tim Blake, managing the facilities projects that we went through earlier, and then Rosie, of course. So we'll follow up later this week with a recording and a copy of the slide deck. If you have any questions in the meantime, please don't hesitate to reach out to this team. Thank you all for your time, and wishing you all a fantastic week. Appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.